Hi, I'm Pat Awesome with Partnership to End Addiction. I've teamed up with the National Family Support Technical Assistance Center under the National Federation of Families to talk to you today about managing loss and grief. Just for a moment, imagine that you're a sculptor and you've lost the love of your life. How would you feel? What would you do? This sculpture, which by the way is located on the shores of Lake Geneva in Switzerland, is Melancholy. It was created by Albert Giorgi, who felt intense sadness and isolation with the loss of his wife, and he went on to create this beautiful piece of artwork as a way to cope. As you can see, it's a figure made of copper, sitting on a bench, slumped over, with a giant hole in the center of it. I can almost feel the heaviness of his loss, the ache in his heart, the emptiness. I think he's given us such a great gift, as Melancholy lets us know that we aren't alone in facing our hardships. Over the past several years, we've all been experiencing cascading, overlapping, and in many cases, very traumatic losses. I've listed some of them here, including COVID and losses associated with other illnesses, worsening mental health, which has resulted in untold suicides and overdose deaths. A relationship loss could include a family rift, a divorce, or maybe just a really good friend moving away. Many people have lost financial security, being unable to afford rent or food or pay the utility bills. And it seems every week or more often we hear about mass shootings that take away our sense of safety. Climate disasters of all kinds have rocked our country, including fires, floods, tornadoes, and blizzards, causing so much destruction in their wake. These are what I would call capital L losses, but people can be just as impacted by little l losses. It's important to recognize the toll loss takes on you and your loved ones, whether the losses are big or small. What are the symptoms of loss? People can experience a wide range of both emotional and physical symptoms. In terms of emotions, you may feel shock and anger that this has happened, or maybe guilt that you didn't do something you thought could change the outcome. Some people feel intense fear. What if this happens again? What if I lose someone else who's close to me? What if I can't get a job? Sometimes loss and grief can leave you feeling foggy, unable to focus or concentrate. In terms of physical symptoms, loss can be exhausting. Some people pull the covers over their heads and don't want to get out of bed, while some people can't sleep as their head plays what happened in an endless loop. Some people can't eat, while other people soothe themselves with a bag of chips or a sleeve of cookies, or perhaps drink to numb the pain. Reactions to loss and grief can also lower your immune system, so you're more susceptible to getting a cold or the flu. And by the way, children have their own way of dealing with loss. Sometimes it shows up as regression in their behavior. Say a child wetting the bed or resorting to baby talk or temper tantrums. Older children and teens might act out or refuse to go to school as they try to figure out how to cope. They might be angry or anxious that another loss will happen. When dealing with losses, people often say things that aren't particularly helpful and in some cases just plain wrong. Get a hold of yourself. He's in a better place. I understand how you feel. Time heals all wounds. You should be thankful that you still have, and you can fill in the blank, either a roof over your head, you still have a job, you still have other children, right? These messages imply that there's something wrong with truly feeling a loss or grieving, but the fact of the matter is that this is part of the human experience, and we're all allowed to feel our grief. What can you do to deal with loss? The first thing to consider is taking care of yourself. It's like the directions you get when you're on an airplane to put the oxygen mask on yourself first and then help others. Try to accept your feelings. You're not alone if you're feeling angry, guilty, fearful, and more. It can help to plan ahead to understand how you might handle triggers, including people or situations that make you feel uncomfortable. For example, one of my close friends lost their son to an overdose, and they feel especially triggered over the holidays. To help them cope, they still set a place at the dinner table to acknowledge and remember him. Your routine can provide a sense of normalcy, and it's okay to feel joy and to laugh. It doesn't mean that the loss was any less important if you have a moment or moments that are lighter. I don't know about you, but I find the news to be really depressing. Taking a break from the news and/or social media can be helpful. Look after your physical health. So that means getting a good night's sleep, eating well, exercising, even if it's just for a few minutes. And by the way, keeping those doctor appointments. You may think, what's the point? But it's really important to keep things from snowballing. Now is probably not the time for a major life change, so you might want to put some distance between yourself and doing something that would be a dramatic change with respect to your loss. And please be patient and kind and gentle with yourself. It takes time to heal from a loss, and you're entitled to have that time. In addition to taking care of yourself, it's important to have support. Look to trusted family members and friends. Perhaps a support group can help. At Partnership, we offer a monthly support group for people who have lost loved ones to overdoses. But there are other support groups out there that can help, such as Grief in Common or Heartbeat, or Facebook groups that you can join. Some people find comfort in their faith and turn to religious leaders, services, prayer, or other spiritual practices. Your State Department of Human Services may be able to help with losses related to housing, food, utilities, etc. For some people, the symptoms of grief resolve pretty quickly, but for a small group of people, the feeling of intense grief persists, and the symptoms are severe enough to interfere with their daily lives. If you or a loved one are experiencing this, seeing a counselor who specializes in grief may help. You can ask friends for referrals, check with your insurance company, or on the web there's a website called Psychology Today, and you can use their search function to find grief counselors. Partnership to End Addiction offers resources mostly geared toward grief and loss related to substance use. Walking Through Grief Together is a page on our website that highlights resources suggested by parents who have lost children of all ages to substance use. We also have a really terrific text messaging program created by these same parents. If you text the word LOSS, L-O-S-S, to 55753, you'll receive text messages offering tips and resources for what they've found useful in managing through such a difficult time. Our peer parent coaches also lead a monthly support group at 1 o'clock Eastern Time on the fourth Tuesday of the month via Zoom. You can sign up for it at drugfree.org. The Recovery Handbook that I've highlighted on the right is a book many grief counselors I work with recommend to their clients. It provides a roadmap and exercises to complete to process loss, and you can do it on your own. You can get it at Amazon or wherever you buy your books. And of course, the National Federation of Families offers resources on a national level and through state affiliates that you might find helpful. In closing, let me share this quote from American psychologist Jean Ochterberg. Healing is embracing what is most feared, opening what has been closed, softening what has hardened into an obstruction. Healing is learning to trust life. Thank you for joining me today. I wish you health and healing.